Nonprofit professionals, have you thought about using gift cards? They're especially helpful this time of year. Think holiday gifts for the whole team, year end bonuses, and even direct support to families in need around the holidays. Charity Charge has a free gift card program just for nonprofits with no sign-up fees or ordering minimums. Text or email a digital card for face value, no extra cost, or ship a physical card if you prefer. Let our team support your year end projects and save money on your gifting. Visit charitycharge.com to learn more and beat the holiday rush. Now, on to the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nonprofit Spotlight series hosted by Charity Charge. This is Grayson Harris, and today we are absolutely pleased to be joined by Amy Springer. She is the Area Director of Upstate New York for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and they are doing really important work on both advocacy and research, but then also in kind of this more direct support role as well. Amy, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. And how's everything going for you?
Thank you so much for having me. Everything is going great. I appreciate being here.
Of course, we're really excited to have you on. And, for myself and our audience, can you lay the groundwork and tell us a little bit more about what the mission is of the foundation and really how you are addressing this community that's affected by cystic fibrosis?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mission of the foundation is to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And along the way, we want to make sure that people living with the disease have their best lives possible on our way to the cure. So, just to give a little bit of background, cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease. It's very rare. There's about 40,000 people in the US who have it. And it impacts the lungs, the digestive system, and it causes the body to produce thick, sticky mucus, which makes it really hard to breathe.
Got it.
When the foundation was formed in 1955, it was a death sentence. Children weren't expected to live to attend kindergarten. And now, because of the research funded by the foundation, a child born today can expect to live to 65 or longer. And that number just keeps climbing.
That is incredible. And whenever you have this goal, that's, it's a really difficult and challenging goal of finding the cure. How are you, defining success and still finding, joy in those wins up until you reach that kind of penultimate goal for the foundation? How do you keep people motivated, as you work towards this really difficult challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a wild ride for the last decade plus. We've had some transformative drugs come to market. A cystic fibrosis diagnosis, even recently, was, pretty scary. And now it sounds crazy, but now is actually a great time to have cystic fibrosis. So, a lot of the people that we work with and their families, they have access to life changing drugs. So their health has improved dramatically. So, I mean, those are huge, huge wins for us. On the fundraising side, though, because people are doing so well and the urgency isn't necessarily there, we do see a hit on fundraising. So it's kind of this double-edged sword because this is what we want. Like we want people to be healthy, we want people to be living their best lives, but at the same time, it's making it I don't want to say more difficult, but it's presenting a challenge to raise the funds to continue with our mission.
I really appreciate that context and this aspect of raising the funds. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that looks like in terms of your role in upstate New York and kind of there's two avenues that those funds can really direct towards, right? It's providing those support and events and resources for the community that is currently being affected by it, but then also, of course, funding research that's working towards that ultimate goal. So, can you tell me a little bit more about what that breakdown looks like and how fundraising looks like for you in upstate New York?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do fund, as you mentioned, we fund a couple different things. We fund research. We also fund CF care centers across the country
That's
because
right.
CF care is really complex. So in Central New York, we're really fortunate to have a bunch of great, great centers in Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo. So, for people who are really concerned about their money staying local, a lot of their money does stay local. We're fortunate to have phenomenal care teams here. So we accredit and fund the centers. And then we also have programs for people with CF. We have a patient assistance program that helps people navigate through insurance and other financial challenges. And so, that's a big part of it. We do community conferences because people with CF can't be in the same room together. So it's not feasible to get, all of the individuals with CF together into a conference or what have you. So we've been doing virtual conferences for quite a long time just to help facilitate that connection. So those are kind of, those are basically what our funds go towards. And locally, we do a lot of fundraising events. So, when the foundation started in the 50s, it was super grassroots, and it really continues to that today. We don't receive any government funding. Our money comes through individuals, corporations, foundations. So we do a lot of special events. We have our Great Strides walks in the spring, and those are national events. We have hundreds of walks across the country, and that's just really a celebration of the community. We do other things like golf tournaments and galas, climbs and extreme hikes. So we have kind of a little bit of something for everyone depending upon what they're interested in. We also have an annual fund campaign and a legacy giving campaign, so people can give year round if they're not interested in the events or if they are interested in the events and want to do more. That's kind of in a nutshell how we raise the funds.
Got it. I really appreciate that context. Something that you mentioned is that change is pretty constant within the organization, especially over these last, few years. Can you tell me a little bit more about internally how you look at change and you strategize around that and kind of handle and adapt as an organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen some change. So I feel like every organization had been impacted in some way, shape, or form due to the pandemic. We are no different. And then, as I mentioned, we had some pretty life-changing drugs that were released right around that same time. So those presented some kind of unique challenges where we really had to pivot, get creative, think outside of the box with our fundraising. It also, we were also very much like an event-heavy organization. And we have pivoted more to like the individual giving. We'd had are just wrapping up a capital campaign. So really kind of looking to diversify outside of those, just the true special events. And really the staff has embraced the challenges and they've gotten creative with how they do events and they've gotten creative how they recognize and steward volunteers. So it's been, while challenging, it's also been pretty incredible just to see what's come out of, those changes.
Got you. I really appreciate that context. And for our nonprofit audience that's listening in and they're, undergoing some of these changes at their organization as well, would be like a piece of advice for them that maybe in terms of like staying on mission and like something around that.
Yeah, I think, everyone's a little bit different, but at the core, we're all raising money because of our mission. So I think just finding meaningful ways to communicate the mission, communicate the progress. I mean, we've been so fortunate to have such incredible progress. So really just helping people see like, listen, your money is making dramatically tangible changes right here. So that's been really, really effective for us, in just getting out there and saying, this is how we're moving towards the mission. This is what we're doing currently. This is how, it's impacting people's lives. So we've been fortunate to have some great data points around that to be able to discuss. And it's really moved the needle.
How do you balance whenever you're talking with a donor, the need that, there's still the cure that we're working towards, but also encouraging them in the sense of, hey, this is the progress that we've made. How do you strike that balance to keep them engaged and not kind of burnt out as a donor, but also understanding that, hey, there's more work that needs to be done?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, our goal is to find a cure. And so while a lot of people are doing phenomenal and their health is stable and even getting better, there's still about 10% plus or minus of the population with CF that does not benefit from those drugs. So they're really struggling. And on the flip side of that, while we have really effective treatments, we don't have a cure. So I think it's balancing that message of things are great for a lot of people, things are not great also for a fairly significant percentage of our population. And we know we have a brilliant science team, and we know that finding the cure is going to be the most difficult, most expensive undertaking we've ever done to date. So I think it's that message that needs to stay at the forefront. Like, we're doing great, but we're going to get this cure, and we're going to do it for everyone. So along the way, we're still looking for treatments for that 10%. We're still looking for better treatments for all. So, I mean, there's still a lot of milestones that we're working towards along the way outside of just like the big cure.
And speaking of milestones, what is going on right now for you and your kind of local area? And what does the future bring for your area chapters?
Yeah, we've had a great year. We just wrapped up our last event of the season. Our Rock the Red Carpet Gala in Buffalo was a huge, huge success. They knocked it out of the park. So we've been deep in planning for 2026 for a while, and we've got our Great Strides walks, which, like I mentioned, it's a big, just kind of community celebration.
That's so exciting. And, how can our audience, get involved with the foundation and get more tapped in?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of different ways to get involved, whether you're interested in advocacy or helping at events, or even, there's so many different ways. So if the audience goes to cff.org and they can search for their local chapter, you can search by zip code or state, and the local chapter contact information will be on there. Some of their events will be on there. So I would suggest, reaching out to their local chapter, and they can get everyone kind of hooked up with really what works for them.
I love that. Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show and, sharing more about the incredible work that you're doing to address the existing problems, but then also that ultimate goal of a cure for cystic fibrosis.
This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.